It's very difficult to unpack the exact parameters around infrastructure failure. I think one of the key parameters that I highlighted in the presentation was the fact that there's more than a deficit projected for 2025 on potable water, close to 2 billion cubic meters of water. It seems that a lot of the major projects around the country have been retarded or compromised or are way behind schedule. In particular, if you relate to Gauteng area, the second phase of the Lesotho Highlands program has been retarded for all sorts of reasons, and it is a very contentious issue at the moment. It seems like it's going ahead, but way behind schedule. Now, there's a lot of these in bulk water infrastructure projects that are way behind schedule. The other big issue is, of course, the wastewater infrastructure in the country. There is widespread infrastructure failure from municipalities around the wastewater infrastructure, and that, as I mentioned in the presentation, is finding its way into our water courses. And it's the water courses and dams and that where we draw our drinking water from. So these issues are very interrelated, and it amounts to general infrastructure failure. The risk is really mainly on the quality side. The quantity side, of course, we know there is a deficit because the general rainfall predictions in the country, and in some cases some of the areas are worse than others in terms of the predicted rainfall. But the contamination or eutrophication of our water courses brings up a huge quality of water risk. Some of the municipalities are able to deal with the issue. There's a huge amount of municipalities around the country that have implemented programs now to fix the sewage infrastructure, but it is way behind. There's a huge amount of infrastructure that needs to be fixed, and that is resulting in the eutrophication of our dams and rivers. And these are the sources that people are drawing their water from, and as a result, a lot of the water treatment plants are not geared to deal with these types of contaminants in the water. And we don't know how much of that stuff is getting through into our potable water. So the risk is very much on the quality side. We know the risk on the quantity side, but we don't understand fully the long-term implications and the risk on the quality side. As a business, it is incumbent on the business to take all risks into account. Good governance dictates that the officers of the company, particularly the directors, need to understand the risk to the business. And just like security risk or economic risk or socio-political risk, water and the environment is also a risk. But we've really been spoiled in this country to a large extent. We've seen what's happened in the energy industry, and we think that similar things are going to play out in the water environment. And the risks that I unpacked in the presentation are going to impinge on businesses. Water in general and its related factors can take down a business faster than just about any other risk. There's a lot of examples around that we can cite where this type of thing has proved to be very disruptive to some companies and so on. So it's incumbent on the officers of the company to take these kind of risks into account. And the right way to do it is through proper governance processes, is to understand what the risk is. There's a lot of people out there unpacking risk all over the place, but every single situation, like this particular complex, Century City, let's say, is completely different in its risk profile to a complex like Waterfall City in Johannesburg. And that needs to be understood. And only when you really understand it properly can you actually set your plans and do the right thing to mitigate that risk and build a resilient and sustainable business.